to the Head of Public Service and Chief of Staff, the Honorable Felix Koskei, the leadership of the Nomia Church, friends, family, Waziri, CS Education, the Honorable MPs, the MP for Ugenya and MP for Bondo, and colleagues in government, and everybody who has come to help us send our brother peacefully. Good morning. Good morning once again. Nyasaye ber, sechete. So, Waziri, I know this has been a very difficult time for you and the family. And I remember when we spoke, it was just soon after you had lost your brother. We were discussing other things, and then you mentioned that your brother has passed. And I remember in my mind, I knew it will take maybe another 2 or 3 weeks before the burial. But then you mentioned you'd not, as a family, you'd not want to take a lot of time before laying him to rest. And I'm happy that as a family, you have a very unique way of getting along. And it's a very unique family in the sense that one, as members of the Nomia Church, there's something very unique. And I'm sure, Head of Public Service, you must have noticed. This was the church that was encouraging, I wanted to say forcing, but encouraging LUOS to get circumcised. It was a prerequisite for you to be a member of this church. You needed to have been circumcised. And when Waziri stood up here, actually before he took the podium, he said, now that the Archbishop has allowed us to speak from the podium, the only other precondition is you must go through the cut. Maybe that is a conversation for another day. But I think one is that this church has played a big role in the development of this region. Not just spiritually, but also on matters to do with education and economic empowerment. And because of that role that the church has played, today we are privileged that in this region, this church has produced for us a cabinet secretary in the name of CS Omolo. And if it were not for the church, we would probably not have a CS in the name of Eliud. And he is very dedicated to this church. Every time when he has an opportunity to go to church on a Sunday, you'll find that he has fellowshiped with the Nomia church members in every corner of this country, whether it is in Nairobi, whether it is in Mombasa, whether it is in Nyanza, and all the other parts of the country. And for me, that is something that is worth emulating, that despite the fact that someone has gotten to the status of a cabinet secretary, he still does not forget about his roots. He doesn't forget about the church that his grandparents put together. And I'm proud of the leadership of the church, that you've been able to keep this church together and you continue to attract very many believers into the church. And the Archbishop, I would not want to say more than you said about the need for us as a country to really embrace true nationhood. That it doesn't matter which community you come from, as long as you are serving the interest of the country and of the nation. And whenever we are faced with challenges, we cannot retreat back to try and find solace in our communities simply because we imagine or think that there is something that is very special about all of us. And I always say this with a lot of humility, that as leaders, we are given the solemn opportunity to serve the country and to serve humanity. It is not that we are special, that we are appointed to these positions, or we are elected to the positions that we find ourselves in. Our responsibility is to do good and to support in the development of this country. Before I take back my seat, allow me to just ask those who were not introduced earlier on, who have just come in, specifically those who work in government. I've seen a number of CEOs who have who came in after we are done the introduction. Please just stand up so that we can acknowledge and appreciate you. Mugonyi, I'm seeing you somewhere. So these are different government officials. Majority of them work with the CS in the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy. I will not introduce each of them by name, but just to welcome you, and you know that we appreciate you as you help us send our brother to rest. You may take your seat, because some of them are directors in various parastatals. Then I've also seen the regional commissioner together with your team. Just stand up. I saw the county commissioner somewhere, and the rest of the county security intelligence team. We appreciate and acknowledge your presence. The RC is Madam Flora Moro, and of course,